The night was quiet, the kind of quiet that presses against your chest and makes your heart beat loud. I came home early from work, my briefcase heavy, my mind preoccupied with the deadlines that seemed to grow faster than the hours in the day. She was sitting on the couch, her hands resting on her swollen belly, eyes fixed somewhere beyond me. For a moment I thought it was calm. I thought maybe this was just another ordinary evening. Then she spoke. Her voice, soft but trembling, cut through the air like a knife. "I need to tell you something," she said. I nodded, carefully, because over the years I had learned that certain words were loaded, and this was one of those moments. "The baby, it might be my yoga instructor's," she admitted. I felt the world tilt, though I held my expression steady. I had trained myself for composure, for the moments that demanded silence instead of shouting. My mind raced, cataloging everything, every interaction, every glance I thought I had missed. The smiles that seemed off, the texts she hid too quickly, the times she laughed a little too loudly after calls I wasn't part of. I didn't react immediately. Not yet. Instead, I listened, truly listened, because sometimes the truth has a way of revealing itself slowly, like shadows stretching across a room. She continued, trying to justify, to soothe herself, claiming it was accidental, that the intimacy had meant nothing, that we were married and this didn't change us. I nodded, smiled faintly, and said nothing. Rage would solve nothing. Control, clarity, and observation would. And as she spoke, I began to notice the patterns I had missed, the signs buried beneath what seemed normal. A new perfume, longer yoga sessions, whispered messages, excuses that didn't add up. Something inside me shifted. I realized this wasn't about anger, not yet. It was about understanding, about documenting, about preparing for the moment when the truth would no longer be optional. The days that followed were quiet but electric, each one layered with the weight of unspoken truths. I watched her carefully, noticing the little habits she thought I hadn't seen. The early morning calls, the way she avoided eye contact when she thought I was near, the yoga sessions she suddenly insisted on taking alone. Every small detail became a thread I followed, a puzzle slowly revealing itself. I didn't confront her. Confrontation would only alert her, give her time to cover tracks, to manipulate the narrative before it unraveled. Instead, I recorded moments in my mind, cataloged conversations, noted inconsistencies, and wrote down dates and times. Each lie became a clue. Each avoidance a confirmation. One afternoon, I found the receipts she'd carelessly left behind: hotel visits, meals she claimed were work meetings, parking charges near her instructor's studio. She smiled at me when I asked about them, and I nodded, feigning ignorance. My silence was deliberate, my calm a weapon she could not see coming. Then came the day she invited him over, under the guise of discussing a new class plan. She thought it harmless, routine. I watched as he leaned in slightly too close, as she laughed at jokes only meant for them. My daughter, quietly observing from the corner of the room, didn't fully understand the implications, but she noticed the tension, the unspoken weight. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I waited. Every word, every glance, every action she took built the narrative that she thought was invisible. But I was seeing it all. And in that patient observation, I knew the moment would come when the truth would no longer need my words. The moment when silence itself would be louder than any confession she could muster. The confrontation came not with shouting, but with evidence she couldn't deny. I had saved the messages, the receipts, the subtle recordings she thought I would never notice. I didn't need to corner her with anger. The truth spoke for itself. One evening, I sat her down, and without a word, I handed over a folder, a silent testimony of months she had thought hidden. Her eyes widened as she realized the depth of her exposure. Panic replaced composure, and for the first time she faltered. She had assumed control, assumed I would react with rage or denial. But I remained calm, quiet, collected, the observer who had watched patiently, who had waited for the right moment to let reality take its course. In the aftermath, our marriage would never be the same. She understood that trust had limits and betrayal had consequences. And my daughter, innocent and perceptive, witnessed not manipulation but clarity, not chaos but the power of truth. That night, as I finally turned off the lights, I felt a strange peace. Not from revenge, not from anger, but from knowing that in patience and observation, I had reclaimed control, not over her, but over the narrative of our lives. Truth, when timed correctly, becomes unstoppable.